Hey FanBros, this is Tatiana King-Jones. We have an awesome episode up ahead for you. But remember, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We're everywhere. Holla.
Welcome to the FanBros, the show where the bros are fans. Doodle.
What's up, internets? This is Chico Leo, flying high above the skies of Brooklyn, the spring skies of Brooklyn, here with another FanBros special delivery, and I am joined by
DJ BenHaMeen, Wakanda's favorite DJ, the Kevin Bacon of the internets, in the spaceship tonight with the boy Chico Leo. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. We're here to talk about this weekend's new TV. Of course, we are now halfway through the new season of Game of Thrones, and tonight was another thriller called Kill the Boy.
Wow. Hold on a second. Hold on. Before we get into that, though, Chico, you have to remember, Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there.
Yes.
Love and peace and blessings to everyone. Because this episode definitely had some motherly moments in it, as Game of Thrones does. Yeah.
It definitely did, especially for the Mother of Dragons.
Yes.
But the title, Kill the Boy, comes from a speech that Maester Aemon Targaryen gives to Jon Snow when he says, kill the boy and let the man be born.
Yep.
Which is, like that old Robert Frost poem or, whatever, but you got to leave your childish things behind you and, step into adulthood. And Jon is now the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. And interestingly, he brings it up, I don't know if people remember, but yeah, so Maester Aemon is a Targaryen, and he's distantly related to Daenerys. He's like her grandfather or great-grandfather's brother. I don't think they've ever met, but they're like the last two Targaryens on the planet.
Yeah, definitely. And that was kind of a fact that because he's said it before when he talked about his great history, but it's not something you remember because he's like this adult old man, so you don't really think of him like as related to the Mother of Dragons.
Right, that's what I mean. It's sort of like on Orphan Black, you got to remind yourself that that's the same actress. Like, when you're seeing him in, in Castle Black or whatever, you're not thinking, oh yeah, that guy's related to Daenerys. So it looks like Sir Barristan the Bold did bite the big one, but at the end of last episode. But Grey Worm has managed to live to fight another day,
and also delivered the most pimp line in a long time on Game of Thrones history. When my man said, "No, I wasn't afraid of dying. I was afraid of never getting to see you again."
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just smooth game, recognized game. She lays down with him. Can't be mad at Grey Worm on this one.
Oh, not at all. I mean, sometimes it takes a couple of stab wounds to, to let your feelings fly with your intended honey.
And let him fly he did, and it worked out well for him. Absolutely.
So I think we've been rooting for them to get together. Hopefully they're going to get together and have a romance for the ages. Of course, things don't often last in Westeros for romantic couples.
Not at all. And also, speaking of romance, let's talk. I mean, because it worked out so well for Grey Worm. But when you talk about the Mormont,
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mormont way, as Tyrion put it in this episode, it's not working out too well for him. Like, his game, of hopefully bringing Tyrion back to get into good graces is, he should have stayed back in the whorehouse.
Yeah, absolutely. So the big reveal at the end of the episode is that, the Jorah Mormont now has grayscale. They were traveling through the abandoned area where all the people with grayscale get sent to die like lepers. And they attack Tyrion and Jorah, and I guess just their touch gives you grayscale, which, of course, is the disease that Stannis' daughter, I think her name is Shireen, managed to survive from. But Gilly's sisters didn't. So, I mean, Jorah's in for, his best case scenario seems to be a slow, lingering, terrible death.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Jorah at this point.
No.
And also, that begs the question, because Tyrion was grabbed by something down there. And he's like, he wasn't touched. So
Right, so he might have been grabbed, he was wearing pants that were in boots. Like, if it grabs his boot, I think it doesn't count as touching him.
Yep.
That's what I'm assuming. I'm not too worried about Tyrion, but it would be kind of dope if the two of them were like, yeah, no, nothing touched me, and then both of them are sitting there nursing grayscale. No, I thought when you said earlier talking about romance, I thought you were going to talk about everybody's favorite psychopath, Ramsay Bolton.
Oh,
and
my
his,
God.
His girlfriend, the kennel master's daughter, who's not too happy about his impending nuptials.
I hate Ramsay Bolton with such a passion that it cannot be described in words. Like, I think I never hated, what's his name, the king, nearly as much as I hate
Joffrey?
Yeah, no way. I never hated Joffrey nearly as much as I hate Ramsay Bolton. I hate him all the way through and through.
The one thing I'll say about Ramsay over Joffrey is that Ramsay is perfectly willing to get his hands dirty, whereas Joffrey never was. He was a coward.
Hold up.
Didn't
Joffrey shoot up the shorty with the crossbow?
Yeah, but it doesn't take much. We've seen Ramsay in battle or at least leading men, and Joffrey shot a woman who was tied up with a crossbow. Like that's about as cowardly. And
I guess it doesn't.
But no, I mean, Ramsay is definitely a bad guy. Like, he's a bad apple who's fallen, far from the bad apple tree.
Yeah. Like, he didn't start off on a good tree, and it just got worse when he fell off. Oh, my God, I can't stand Ramsay. And I really didn't think Miranda was going to make that move that she did. That was definitely a smooth move on her part, but I figured her to be more in the lane of killing Ramsay off, but I guess that's not her, thought process, so...
Yeah, no, you mean showing Sansa that they have Theon and have turned him into Reek?
Yeah, and I finally got his
that
name.
was a bit of a gangster move, and then it caused Ramsay to be like a real, dick at dinner, introducing them, and with the added complication that, everybody believes that Theon killed Bran and Rickon.
But Theon
including
knows that he
Sansa and
didn't.
Ramsay. Theon knows he didn't, but he's Reek. And any little bit of Theon that's in him would want to, shield the information that those boys are out there. Because if anyone knew they were out there, they would hunt them down.
True indeed. But at the same time, he needs to redeem himself in someone's eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, really, he needs to redeem himself in his own eyes. And that's going to be a long time coming, it seems, for poor Reek. Because, man, bottom of the barrel for him.
I'm hoping for some sort of, Reek/Theon teaming up with Brienne and Podrick and, helping turn the tables at Winterfell for Sansa. But we'll see. Sansa this is definitely 5th season Sansa, which has definitely been different than the first 4 seasons. Like, she definitely seems, even though her situation... She doesn't have a whole lot of control over his situation. She at least has, she seems like she's in the game.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more than she has been. And still, though, I thought that was a really dumb move of hers, just walking down that hallway after Miranda told her to go down there. That was like when De Niro was in, what is that? Is that Goodfellas? When he's telling her, hey, I got some nice dresses for you,
I got some nice dresses
for
yep.
you. Go right down there. It's
right.
It's right down there. Yeah, come on, Sansa. But, she survived that. I thought she was going to get ate up by a dog. But,
No, I think it was also just to, try and intimidate her and stuff. But you got to remember, that is her home. She did grow up there. She's a Stark. Their sigil is the wolf. She had a wolf, as a child. So, I'm expecting big things from her. In other news, Stannis has ridden off to actually take Winterfell, so we'll see what happens there. Jon Snow has basically made an agreement with the Wildings to let them through, which is big. And I feel like a lot of stuff happened. We did see our first dragon eating people scene.
Yes.
We've had dragons and we've had people. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we've ever seen the two smaller dragons split one of the marine slave or royalty types.
I like how they were really, nice and shared the meal between each other.
Yes.
Like they didn't fight over their pieces. They both just sat there and
Right.
ate happily, And also, that led to Daenerys, which I wish I'd said this on an earlier episode because I felt like I could see this coming. Her having basically proposing to the guy, one of the head families of the former rulers, that they will marry. And I just felt like I saw that coming because they had a nice little chemistry, whenever he was standing in front of her begging for his life, basically.
Right. I was surprised at that because I just thought down the line now, they have said they're just doing 7 seasons, which would just leave 2 more.
Wow.
But I kind of expected down the line, like Daenerys to have to marry someone from one of the families that's already on Westeros. Like someone in Stannis' family or Jon Snow, it's a saga of fire and ice, and she's the mother of dragons and he's Jon Snow. I just sort of generally thought, but we'll see. I mean, we'll
nothing
see,
lasts forever. These weddings
absolutely,
don't,
especially in this world.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen what Dario Naharis will have to say about that. I can't imagine he'll be too thrilled.
Yeah, I can't imagine he'll live much longer after expressing his not being thrilled either, though.
So yeah, I mean, we're now halfway through the season. I feel like, and everything is sort of, moving forward, and Tyrion is that much closer to, I guess, teaming up and being in Camp Dragon. He even saw his first dragon just from afar.
Yeah, definitely. So things are moving along. I had to say that. Like you said, it's the first few episodes where it's kind of a lot of build up. But since then, it's been rolling pretty smooth, and I'm not mad at it.
Right.
We got 5 episodes left, and we'll see what happens.
And yeah, this, I think, was the first week where we didn't see anything in King's Landing. So, and there's always shit going on there. But, that was Game of Thrones, Kill the Boy. Orphan Black continues with names that, I don't know, Newer Elements of Our Defense was this week's, and I just wanted to say it was good to see Helena get something dope to do, and that scorpion that is in her mind is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters on the show.
I love how the scorpion is so easily distracted by food.
Right.
Like it's always escape, and then, oh, wait,
Right.
But no, and something to do doesn't really describe what Helena went through this episode,
right.
Because that once again, you always forget that about this show is that it is disturbing. There's always these moments where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is that show. Like on the first season when they had the guy with the tail, and then tonight when Helena discovers one of the other male clones in the lab tied up, pulls off the curtain and sees that his brain is exposed. And that was just like, it was one of those moments where I was sitting there watching the TV, and I think I had a drink in my hand, and I was about to take a sip, and you just had to put it down, and, be like, oh, okay, that's how we're going tonight.
And the scorpion told her to leave him, but Helena has enough humanity, even after all she's been through, that, she definitely put him out of his misery.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
But rough. Yeah, so newer elements of our defense. I don't know what that necessarily means, but Sarah, there's a lot going on. Sarah and Helena are definitely desperately trying to find each other. Sarah feels really guilty. Helena knows that, her sister hasn't given up on her, and she's hardcore. She was raised as an assassin, so she's going through all kinds of crazy Jack Bauer, stuff. And once again, Tatiana Maslany. I mean, it's like crazy when you're watching them alternately because you do forget it's the same actress. My only real criticism, they still haven't found something to do with Felix. He's still playing the like gay best friend, like he's in Will and Grace, and they haven't. It's not 15 years later, and he could be having his own storylines. I feel like, but same for Cosima. She hasn't had much to do this season. But they went out and had drinks so that Cosima could try and get over Delphine and, get on this world's version of Tinder. But the real story was clearly Helena and Sarah, and Helena going through all kinds of changes and sort of does escape at one point and then gets put back, in prison, but with more knowledge than she had before.
Definitely. But I have to say, I think that's one of the things about this show is that it also shows that these clones are just trying to lead normal lives at the same time. Because before they encountered each other, most of them were just leading normal lives. So it's like they're just trying to go on about their lives, even with all this other craziness about them, which kind of bugged me out at first. But then I realized, well, what else would they do? Because they do have lives. Like, Allison has kids to raise, so she has to keep going on about it.
And an election to win.
Yes, and that was one of my favorite moments of this episode was Allison's reaction to the thug in her garden, because she thinks that, dude is just, or that Shorty is just like her, where she's gonna, send a thug to ruin the election to her garden. Like, nah, this dude is obviously coming from the drug dealers.
Yeah, I mean, and the drug dealer was Justin Chatwin, who, Shameless fans will definitely recognize, which, I thought, playing a dude who, she dumped in high school. I kind of thought they were going to use this opportunity to sort of bring this storyline into the larger, like, Prolethean dyad clone business, because this whole season, Allison has essentially just been doing her own thing with Donnie, with the drug dealing to win the school board election.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I didn't really think it was going to go that way. And it was good to see Dude show up again after he's been on Shameless, even though he seems to be getting typecast. And I also forget all the time that he was also Goku in the Dragon Ball Z live action movie that I've never seen, since I really don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I know that most people hate religiously. Right. So, he's had a few missteps.
I did not know that. Yeah, he's been in something. I mean, he's in the first and last episodes of Weeds. I know I've definitely seen him in things. He often plays a douchebag. He's got a little bit of a douchebaggy demeanor.
I was going to say that, and it's so funny that he definitely has been, like I said, typecast in that role as of late.
Yeah.
Definitely holding down, supreme douchebag from Shameless to now in this one. But yeah, like you say, I feel what you're saying about how the other clones, are kind of separate from the main story of the dyad and whatnot. But I also like that because at certain points the dyad and all this stuff gets a little like, ugh. And my main complaint about this episode is that, once again, on Mother's Day, I'm just sorry that Helena just didn't, jack up the mother right there when she had a chance. Like she sees that these people are evil. Why didn't she just do her in? She's the super assassin. Done her off before the guards get there, and then see what happens.
Yeah, so this was really our first Helena-centric episode, and I just was happy to see her taking her own situation in hand and not just basically being a punching bag, which she has been through most of this season. And clearly, she and Sarah are going to find each other and team up, and it's going to be, Wonder Twin powers activate.
Definitely will be. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I think that's about it, right? Cosima, Allison, Rachel's still recovering somewhere.
From the pencil in the eye.
Oh, we can't forget.
Pencil in the brain.
Yeah, but we can't forget to mention poor Gracie this episode.
Right.
Oh man, yeah. Her mom is just. It's not a lot of good moms on this show. Like pretty much everybody mother figure is a terrible one on this show because, man, that was just no love at all. Like just ice, cold.
Did we
ice.
even see Mrs. S on this episode? I don't even think she was in it.
Nope.
No.
No love for Mrs. S. So she's already a traitor, and then you don't even get to see her. Like,
right.
Tight. Yeah, so it's been a rough season for everybody involved, pretty much. So we'll see if they can pull it out and have a happy ending or something by the end of this. But so far, it definitely hasn't been the best.
Well, it doesn't have to have a happy ending, but I feel like they got to start weaving the stories a little more, together. I mean, it's been the beginning of the season; they're setting things up, but. Again, I expect, like, the Allison thing to somehow, or unless it's all going to be, like, a crazy, in the final episode, Allison's going to be having to give her a campaign speech, but it's really going to be, Cosima pretending to be Allison, and, Helena is going to be running around talking to scorpions, and, something like that, like a big set piece. But I feel like, they're gonna have to start sort of narrowing things down, getting the X-Wing fighters in the trench, to hit that exhaust pipe.
We'll see what happens. I from the beginning I thought that Allison's the person she's running against was somehow going to be involved in the Dyad Corporation.
Right, that could definitely happen too. I mean, the Dyad organization could come in at the last minute and back her.
Yes.
Her super PAC.
It's an evil, slow revenge for them. We'll take your school districts first.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what the Tea Party did, and it seems to have worked. Local elections matter, folks. So vote in your school elections, but vote in all of them, because who's on the school board matters, who's on the city council matters, and it all starts. All politics is local, and that's true.
Wow, the more you know on this episode of FanBros.
That's right.
All right, what else? Flash, we got to talk about.
Right, so for many weeks we'd been teased and tantalized, and this was the episode, Grodd Lives. And we got a lot of Gorilla Grodd in this episode.
Damn sure did, and I was hype as hell through most of it because they, Grodd was definitely realized well. They got his intelligence across, they got his telepathic powers across. They got his, ruthlessness across, and it was you really felt fearful for Iris's father in this one, because when Grodd had him in that cave, it looked real tight on him for a second there.
Oh yeah, I thought there was a chance they might kill him off. I'm glad they didn't, because I liked him. And more importantly, this was really, Iris's sort of coming out episode as a human being.
Wow.
Like, she was, I really feel like, it's not the character's fault, but, by keeping her in the dark for so long and making her seem like such an airhead about so many things. And I thought they worked it in really well by having Iris there with Barry's team, like advising him and being the voice in his ear and all that. And we also got the Eddie Thawne and Eobard Thawne, the man in the yellow suit. Like, I feel like that the Eobard has begun poisoning Eddie's mind against the Flash and Iris. He shows him the newspaper from the future that, where the byline is Iris West Allen. So, and it turns out that he had been working with Grodd.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But we knew that a little bit from before. But that's one thing, definitely. I feel like they're definitely, setting up for Eddie to become another version of the Reverse Flash, because there's definitely a few of them in the DC universe.
Yeah, Professor Zoom. Yeah.
But definitely, I want to say something else, like you brought up earlier, is about Iris. Because on the internet this week after the show aired, I got a lot of reaction where I was talking to people about it, and people kept saying how much they hate Iris. And how much of, she feels like, to me, what's her name, Skylar on Breaking Bad right now?
Right.
Like, that's the level of hate that she is getting right now. Or maybe even Rick's wife on Walking Dead level of hate.
Lori.
Yeah, Lori. Because the level of hate for Iris right now is so insane. And I really don't understand it, because it's like everyone was lying to her. And people are like, well, Barry had to lie because of her dad. And I'm like, no, Barry's a man. He can step up and say something if he wants to, and he didn't. So you can't really be mad at Iris for being like you say, the airhead and out of it, because everyone is lying to her. And people were mad, that love saved them all on this episode. And it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things. I feel like people just are never going to be happy with Iris's character right now.
Well, I'm actually I'm glad that love saved them, and I felt like her character. I mean, I like her a lot more after this week than I did before this week. I did find her to be really annoying, and in some ways like a lot more annoying than Skylar.
Damn.
And so yeah, I mean, I think that, going forward that she's going to be much less problematic, even if she's like wishy-washy about her actually having a relationship with Barry or the Flash. I just think having her in the know and having her express her feelings just makes her seem much more human. And as far as the love thing and the heart thing, again, going back to Mark Waid's run on The Flash in the 90s, that was very much at the center. It was actually Linda Park and Wally West, but their love kind of kept him anchored and not sort of flying off into the Speed Force, and it was a kind of like storybook romance that definitely worked. And if they could do that with Barry and Iris, that would be awesome. And I feel like this was a definite positive step in that direction. Dope. For her character.
Yeah, dope. And I feel the same way because Flash has always been about that. Like, he's always been about family. In his relationship later on in the comic, he has wife and kids and all that. So it's always been about that for Flash. So I was happy to see it, and I didn't feel any type of way about it. But I definitely heard that on the internet. But I just think that's a general level of hate for Iris in general. Like, people just cannot stand her, like you say. I mean, if you hate her more than Styler, that's saying a lot.
Well, no, but I'm saying, and I don't know about, I mean, hate's a strong word, but I'm also saying that I felt like this episode was a turning point. So while I might have talked trash about her a bunch of times before, like, I feel like going forward, there could definitely be, a new and improved Iris just through her, knowing that he's the Flash, but then having been there in the HQ while he was on a serious mission and her dad's life was at stake, and she saw how dope, Cisco is and Caitlin, So I don't know how many episodes of Flash there are left. There's only 1 or 2 episodes left, I think, this season. But real props. I mean, it's been a great first season, and definitely looking forward to the finale and upcoming seasons.
Most definitely, yeah, definitely can't wait for the end of this and the second season that'll come after, and the new show that they just finally announced the name. I want to say it's not Defenders of Tomorrow. It's like Protectors of Tomorrow or Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow is the new show that'll star Adam, probably Firestorm. They say Rip Hunter, and a few other characters are going to be on it. So, definitely hyped for that because so far they've been killing it. I'm not really the biggest Arrow fan, but Flash is definitely my joint, so I'm loving it.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what's been going on Arrow? Because he's been was forced to assume Ra's al Ghul's, become Ra's al Ghul's heir.
Ah, nice. No, I know less than on Arrow than what I know on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I actually watched that again this week. And the finale is next week, and I'll talk about it more next week after it all wraps up because, yeah, I really couldn't tell you much more than I watched it this week.
Right. Yeah. No. So I haven't been hearing the best things about that, but there's a lot of comic book stuff. Again, the recent stuff on Arrow has been pretty good. It looks like Roy Harper has been written out, and maybe his sister might assume the Speedy mantle. Oliver's sister Thea. That's the way it looked most recently. I have liked most of the Ra's al Ghul storyline, and I like a lot of the characters in Arrow. I feel like the main problem is the flashback stuff this season just hasn't been as strong as the first 2. And it's a little grim and gritty. After a while, it gets annoying, especially when contrasted with, the sort of... it's not sunny all the time, but the sunniness of the heroism on the Flash, the optimism of the Flash.
Yeah, definitely. It's the same problem, like I said before, that I have of when I turn from The Flash to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still has heroism and optimism because it's Marvel. It also just has this whole plotting feel to it that The Flash doesn't have, and I just can't get past that after watching The Flash and having all that energy, and then you come back to this show, which is more a lot of talking and then the occasional action, but even when you get to the action, it's ho-hum, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the finale turns out next week.
I mean, it's pretty incredible. My one last note, and I just thought this, like, if we had seen this Grodd episode when we were kids, like, it would have been a dude in a gorilla suit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just think about how much whack. I mean, it literally would have been a dude, and you would have seen his eyes, and you would have seen where the head is on the suit, and the CGI gorilla. I mean, he was helped by being, in tunnels, and there was a lot of steam and darkness and stuff. But I thought, he looked really dope, and I don't know that I ever expected to see Gorilla Grodd on my TV screen.
Never in my lifetime would I have expected to see Gorilla Grodd on my TV screen, other than like on animation or whatnot. So, big shout out to The Flash for pulling it together and making that happen.
And hopefully we'll see more. Hopefully we'll get a nice trip to Gorilla City.
Oh my God! You know that's coming eventually. I'm
I
sure.
Hope so.
Yeah, they're gonna go all out with this show. They haven't shown any signs of slowing down. So,
frankly, that's a show I'd want to see. Is the Gorilla City show? Like,
life in the average day of a gorilla in Gorilla City.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean that's what they should get on. For Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., forget that. Agents of Gorilla,
trying to deal with Gorilla Grodd's taxation without representation.
Right. Exactly.
And he's a telepathic president. It's not a good life.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, so yeah. Hopefully we'll get to see more Grodd, and I don't know. I think that's that about wraps it up for this week. Or you got anything else?
Yeah, most definitely. As always, this has been DJ BenHaMeen and Chico Leo. Check us out on FanBros.com, where you can find more articles, more podcasts, more editorials, reviews, all that good stuff. Plus, our store is open at FanBros Shop. You can find it on FanBros.com. Get all that FanBros merchandise and look fresh and be down with the team and the mission, because we love you.
Yeah, what he said.